In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 4 projects for summer and fall. Let's go ahead and get started. To start out, I have this piece of cedar and I cut it to 8 inches wide. Also, this video is sponsored by Laserpecker. Alright, so next I have these 2 boards here. I need to cut this one down to 5.5 inches wide. And I need 2 pieces that are 10 inches long. And then this one, I need to cut pieces that are 10 inches long that have 45-degree angles on each end. One of them needs to be 2 inches wide and the other 3 need to be 1 inch wide. Alright, now with our board cut to 8 inches wide, the first thing we're going to need to do is trim off the end. Next, I'm going to measure and cut a piece at 36 inches. Next, we're going to need 2 pieces at 8 inches. All the links for the boards are down in the description. Alright, so now I've got all the pieces cut. Do a little overview real quick. Just got these 2.5 inch wide triangles. These are going to be braces. And then I got this piece. It's 2.5 inches wide, 8 inches long, and then I cut this semicircle into it. Next we got this piece, 8 inches long and 2 inches tall. These pieces, 8 inches and 7 inches long, 1 inch wide. Got these 2 pieces, 8 inches long and 5 inches wide. These 2 pieces, 8 by 8 inches. And then this one is 8 inches wide and 36 inches long. Now, as for assembly, it's pretty self-explanatory. And here's the final product. It's a gun rack, so the gun will go here, barrel rests up here, and then the butt rests right here. Slip will help it from falling back, and then in here is ammo storage. So let's move on to the next one. All right, so first off, I decided to make it 21 inches long. So since this edge up here is not straight, I measured from this side here up 21 inches on both sides, made a straight line across. That way we've got perpendicular lines on each side. I also marked the center here. So this is where the handle is going to be. The center of the handle is going to be on this mark. So from this mark here, I'm going to measure down 5 inches. So this is going to be the bottom of the handle. This is going to be the top of the handle. I think that's a pretty good measurement. All right, so this is going to be the main part of the cutting board all in here. And then the handle is going to be right here. And this is the center of the handle. So I'm thinking the handle 1.5 inches wide. So I'm going to mark 3/4 of an inch on each side of that mark. And then that'll be where our handle is going to be. Now I got it all cut out, but I thought it was a little bit too wide, so I trimmed up the edges so that it wasn't live edged. Alright, now with it all cut out, we gotta sand it. Now with it all sanded, I'm gonna add a light 45-degree chamfer around the whole thing. Alright, now for the second to last step, I have a 1/4 inch Forstner bit, and I'm going to start by marking the center of our handle, which is 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to mark down from the top 3/4 of an inch also to make a cross, and that's the center of our board. And now I'm just going to drill on that point. Now I'm going to take about, I don't know, 8 inches of leather, and I'm going to feed it through this hole and tie it off. Now I think this looks pretty good on its own, but I'm gonna add a little something, a little pizzazz. So I stuck it in the laser, and I'm gonna add a design on the top here. And this video just so happens to be sponsored by Laserpecker. How convenient. With the Laserpecker app, I'm able to drag in any picture that I want, and it automatically cuts it out so it'll look best whenever it engraves it. There's also a bunch of pre-made shapes and designs already built into the app. Now this laser is compatible with both the Laserpecker app, which comes with it, or light burn, which I haven't really gotten into yet. You can engrave on more than just wood with this machine. I've tested on metal, and there's many other things that you can engrave. And here's the final product. It is a little bit faint because obviously it's dark wood and it burns dark, but I still think it looks really good. Now let's move on to the next one. For the third project, I'm using a scrap piece of barn wood. So I found this cool design online, so I'm just gonna send it over to the computer. There we go. Now we're gonna pull up the Laser Pecker app. Next we can just drag our picture in. All right, I got the design on where I want it. Now we're just gonna preview it, preview again, and see how it looks. That looks pretty good to me. This is the kind of project that I've never really been able to make before because I didn't have a laser and I'm not good at wood burning. So if you've been looking to add more customization to your woodworking projects, check out the link in the description. All right, and I think it's done. Let's check it out. That looks really cool. Thanks again to Laser Pecker for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get the sign finished. Let's blow it off a little bit. And here's the final product for the sign. I think this one's my favorite one so far. So let's go ahead and move on to the last project. All right, so for this next project, I just have a piece of walnut, a piece of oak, and whatever this is. I think this is ash, but I'm not sure. So to start out with our pieces of walnut, I'm gonna start by cleaning up one end, and then we're gonna need to cut 2 pieces to 13 inches. Now with our 2 walnut pieces cut, we can set those aside. And with this piece of ash, we just need it to be at least 10 inches long. So I'm gonna cut off the bad parts on each side. Now finally, with this piece of oak, I'm gonna trim up the end and then cut it to 13 inches. All right, now let's head over to the table saw. All right, so here at the table saw, we're just gonna start by straightening off one edge of all the boards. Alright, now it's time to make the cuts. To start off with this piece of oak, I'm just going to rip it down to 5.5 inches wide. We're also going to rip one of the walnut pieces to 5.5 inches. Alright, and this is going to be the lid for the chest, and I'm going to add a name on the top here just to add a little bit more pizzazz. Alright, so now to finish this up, the first thing I'm going to do is I just have this thin strip of wood, so cut off from this, and I'm going to attach it down here at the bottom to cover up these 3 holes at the bottom. I'm just going to be using some pin nails to hold this on. Now for these other 2 holes at the top, I'm just going to be using some of these button things just to cover them up. And now for the final step, I'm going to attach the lid here. And I just have some of these little hinges and a latch that I picked up on Amazon. I'll leave a link for them down in the description. Alright, it's all done, and I think it turned out pretty good. Now let's go give it a final sanding and finish it. Alright, and here's the finished product with finish on it and everything, and I think it turned out really good. And here's all the projects together. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Also, click right here if you want to see another video.